Thank you, gentlemen, for your appearance today. Congratulations to you both on your nominations. Mr. McCord, in your answers to the advanced policy questions, you affirmed the NDS Commission on which you served had found that 3 to 5% real growth was, quote, illustrative of what was needed for the 2018 National Defense Strategy, end quote. But you also state that the DoD should be able to carry out its missions under the announced fiscal year 2022 funding level, which is below inflation. How can the committee reconcile these two views?
Senator, the way I would state it is, first of all, of course, neither you nor I have seen the details and the specific choices made inside the 22 budget, so we'll all be able to learn more about how we feel about the budget and what's in there when it's available in a week or two. With respect to the funding level, just as an aggregate number, what Secretary Mattis said at the time and what the Commission sort of spoke to was averaging 3 to 5% over a 5-year period, and the FY22 request is still in that range from where the budget was 5 years ago when I left. So I think in that respect, there's a certain consistency.
Well, we'll see what it says in a week or two. The reports I hear are not reassuring. Hopefully, once you're confirmed, you can exert influence inside the interagency process and with OMB to make sure the Department of Defense is fully funded as the threats we face continue to grow. I also want to ask you a question about the Overseas Contingency Operations account. I've seen some novel budgeting tricks used with that OCO spending account during my 8 years in the Congress. At the same time, I think it's important that we be able to track what we're spending on overseas conflicts. So by doing away with OCO spending, how is it that we will be able to track inside the Department of Defense and for Congress what we're spending on those conflicts?
Senator, the department, when I was there, and I know continues to this day, and I would insist that we continue, if confirmed, does what's called a cost of war report. It has moved from, I believe, maybe monthly to quarterly over the years, that is done to track obligations that are chargeable against operations in Iraq or Afghanistan. That can continue with or without separate appropriations, and I think it would be necessary that it continue for the very reasons you cite, that there's accountability and transparency of what is still being spent on these operations.
Good, thank you. I just think it's very important that we maintain a clear picture of what we're spending on our forces that excludes any kind of contingency operations overseas. Now, the OCO account was used in some funny ways to get around budgetary spending caps of the last decade that are no longer in place. So it can't be used in that way anymore, but I want to make sure that we have a very crystal clear picture of what we're spending on our manning, training, equipping, so we understand what the force needs in the future, separate from what we have to spend on a year-to-year basis wherever our forces are operating overseas. Mr. Moultrie, supply chain security has always been a critical component of our national security. It grows even more so as our forces' equipment and weapons get more technologically advanced. What do you view as the biggest threats to our technology supply chains, and how would you work to mitigate those threats?
Yes, Senator, the supply chain, our supply chain is inherently vulnerable, that's what I would say. Our adversaries, specifically China and others, understand the defense industrial base. We're fortunate, based on my past knowledge and experience, to have organizations, especially within the intelligence security enterprise, such as the Defense Counterintelligence Security Agency, that has programs that actually enable us to go out and talk to those individuals and companies and facilities that are part of our critical supply infrastructure for the Department of Defense. I think we have to ensure that we continue to identify what our vulnerabilities are in those key areas, in those key industries, in those key organizations. We have to make them aware, Senator, of what the challenges really are and what the threat actually is. And that means we have to have that, when I talk about public-private partnerships, to be able to go out and talk to them, make sure that they understand this. And if confirmed, I would work vigorously to ensure that we're doing all that we can to support the mitigation of risk in our supply chain as it exists today.
Okay, thank you. Last year I sponsored the American Foundry Act with several other senators to reinvigorate semiconductor manufacturing here at home. I believe offshoring this critical capability has presented a grave threat to our national security. What importance do you assign to our leadership in microelectronics design and manufacturing, and what risk to U.S. security will our supply chains face if we don't have that critical manufacturing capability here at home?
Yeah, Senator, I haven't been briefed on what's currently occurring within the DoD on foundries. I'm aware of the microchip shortage and the challenges that we're having in that regard. I think it's important that that wherever our chips are manufactured, that they are secure. That offshoring of microchips can or cannot induce vulnerabilities into the process that we have there. But if confirmed, I would work to understand where those chips are being manufactured to support the defense intelligence enterprise, and work across the department and the interagency to ensure that we're securing the supply chain of getting chips to our military and to our critical industries.
Good, thank you. I agree with that. Kind of dangerous to have 80 to 90% of the world's semiconductors manufactured within short-range missile range of mainland China, in a place against which Beijing have irredentist claims. Thank you both.